Hi, I'm Catherine from a small village in Norway. When I was born, the midwife handed me to my mom, and when she pulled the blanket away from my face, Mom screamed. All the village women standing around gasped. Dad came running into the room, and he looked at me, horrified.
My God! Your family's curse is upon us! She looks exactly like your sister, the ugly one!
I had no idea what they were talking about then, but in time, it became much clearer. Everyone in my family thought I was the ugliest girl ever. They all had pale skin, pale eyes, and light hair, but I had dark hair, dark eyes, and a permanent tan. Growing up, I was really lonely. I didn't have any siblings because Dad was too afraid of having more cursed, ugly children. And the other villagers acted like I had head lice and wouldn't let their kids play with me, just because I looked different. When I was 6, my parents realized they couldn't hide me forever from our relatives, so we had a family photo taken for our Christmas cards. But when Dad saw the prints, he tore them in half and grounded me. Before I went to my room, I picked up a torn photo and taped it back together. Then I drew devil horns on my parents' heads. There, that looked better. One afternoon when I was 11, I snuck out my window and was sitting under a tree when a woman approached me. She said she was from the States and asked if she could take a photo of me in a heavy Norwegian accent. I'm not an animal in a zoo that you can take photos of and laugh at.
Why would I laugh at you, child? I think you're beautiful. Can I meet your mom and dad?
She seemed nice, so I took her home. But as soon as my parents saw her holding my hand, they lost it. Before I could say a word, my parents dragged me inside and slammed the door in the woman's face. The American lady came back after a year, and this time, she brought a lawyer. She introduced herself as Betty and said she'd like to adopt me and take me to America with her. I didn't know where that was exactly, but anywhere out of my stupid room sounded great. I jumped into her arms and said yes. My parents leapt up from their seats and said no. Why can't I? You guys don't even like me. Mom pulled me into a tight hug immediately.
Nonsense! You're my flesh and blood, Catherine. Yes, your looks are a burden on my soul, but I could never give you up.
Betty took out a thick wad of cash from her purse.
Would this help change your mind?
And my parents had dashed off to pack my things faster than lightning. By the time we landed in LA, America, it was obvious that Betty actually loved me. She took me out to amazing cafes, shows, and amusement parks. Whenever we'd go out, though, I noticed people giving me strange looks, and I felt sad. So everyone here except Betty thought I was ugly too? She hired a special tutor who made me learn perfect English in less than 3 months. And sometime later, I joined the 8th grade. On my first day of school, I was getting the usual stares, but then something completely unexpected happened. I was surrounded by all these kids, and they were actually saying nice things to me. Love your beautiful tan.
I could look into your eyes forever. How about a date this evening?
Wow, you look like Princess Jasmine. Wait, was I actually beautiful here? Later that day, a pretty girl I'd seen in my class caught up to me in the corridor. Hey, Catherine, right? I'm going to call you Cat. Welcome to this dumpster of a school. Mine's the best group here, and you can join us because you're pretty. I'm Stella. And next thing I knew, I was hanging out with the most popular girls in school. After being an outcast all my life, it felt good to know that people wanted to be friends with me. But I soon discovered it was hard to keep up with them because we weren't really alike. All they wanted to do was hang out at the mall after school and buy more clothes, shoes, and makeup. I once wanted to go to a bookstore, and they looked at me like I was a freak. One day when I got to school, I found Stella and the other girls gathered around Leah, one of the girls in our group. She was crying, and when I asked what happened, Stella whispered, Leah's dad lost his entire fortune. She's like really poor now. Poor thing. Leah looked miserable all the time and stopped hanging out with us after school because she didn't have money to spend anymore. I tried giving her money once, but she wouldn't take it. A few weeks later, Leah sat down with us at lunch and took out a salami sandwich out of her bag. And suddenly, Stella went bonkers. Ew, get that stinky garbage away from me. What, you're so poor now you can't afford lobster or caviar anymore? Leah's face crumpled into tears, and I felt shocked at the mean outburst. Stella, that was really rude. Oh, I've tried being nice, but I'm done. I've always let her be a part of my group even though she's ugly, but now she's poor too? It's time for her to go. That's it! I can't believe you treat a friend like this. Who cares that you're pretty or rich if you're such a horrible person? Hey, stupid village girl, watch your mouth. You would be a nobody if I didn't make you a part of my group. I'd rather be a nobody than be somebody like you. Come on, Leah, we're leaving. And with that, I took her hand and we walked away. I could feel Stella's furious glare drilling a hole in my skull, but I didn't care. From that day onwards, Leah and I got really close. We couldn't avoid Stella and her rude comments in class, but we started hanging out in the library during recess, and I'd always get extra lunch for her. Leah started coming over to my place too, and Betty always asked her to stay over for dinner. One day, I was saying goodbye to Leah at our gate when I heard a familiar laugh. OMG, Leah, are you homeless now? Has that Betty lady adopted you too? She seems to have a thing for adopting poor loser kids. What are you even doing here, Stella? Sadly, I just discovered yesterday that I lived next to you. I'll have to ask my parents to move to a better neighborhood. That sounds like a great idea. Can't wait. And with that, I walked back inside. It was bad enough seeing her in school. Now it turned out we were neighbors. One night, I was outside playing with my cat when she suddenly leapt over the wall to Stella's place. I climbed over too and thankfully found her soon. I was tiptoeing away when suddenly I heard shouting from inside. I peeked in through a window and what I saw left me shocked. Stella was standing in front of her parents with her head hanging low while they were both taking turns screaming at her.
Why are you so stupid, Stella? Just look at your pathetic grades. Are you slow? How are you going to run my company one day? Run your company? I'm pretty sure she isn't even going to graduate high school. It's so embarrassing, really. All my friends are always talking about how smart their kids are, and I just want to pretend that I don't even have a daughter.
Stella burst into tears and ran away from the room. I walked away quickly, feeling really sorry for her. I knew exactly what it felt like to have parents who always put you down. Hers seemed even worse than mine. The next day in class, I wanted to tell Leah all about what I'd seen the day before, so I scribbled a note and passed it to her. Just then, Stella raised her hand and said, Miss, Catherine just passed a note to Leah. Oh no! The teacher swooped down on Leah like a hawk. She snatched the note out of Leah's hand, and to my horror, she started reading it out loud.
I saw something awful yesterday. Her parents treat her like trash. What is this about?
I looked over at Stella, and her face had turned white. It's nothing, miss. I'm sorry. But just then, Leah rose from her seat. Oh, I'll tell you all what this is about. The paper doesn't say the name, but Kat was just telling me about how the school princess Stella gets treated by her parents like dirt. Just imagine, she goes around acting like she rules the school, but her own parents hate her. I couldn't believe what Leah had just said. As everyone stared at Stella, the bell rang and she ran out of the room in tears. While everyone walked out whispering, I pulled Leah back. How could you do that, Leah? I told you a secret and you publicly announced it. Leah looked back at me angrily. Kat, have you forgotten how she treated me at the worst point in my life? She deserves this. But don't you see? This makes you as cruel as her. That was an awful thing to do, and I'm so disappointed. And with that, I went off to look for Stella. I walked into the girls' bathroom and saw her feet under the door of a stall. Stella, I know you're in there. Can you please come out and let me apologize? The door burst open and Stella stared at me with furious eyes. How dare you snoop around my house and spy on my personal life? And then you just tell everyone? You act like you're the best freaking person on the planet, but you're just a big hypocrite. Stella, I found out by accident, I promise. And I never meant for everyone to know. I'm really sorry. And we have more in common than I thought. My parents were awful to me too. I know what that feels like. You know nothing. And you're nothing like me. You're going to pay big for what you did, Catherine. And with that, she pushed me aside and stormed off. I didn't have to wait too long to find out what her payback was. I'd been working on a complicated wind turbine model for years for the upcoming science fair. A day before the fair, when I went to the lab, I found my whole model smashed to pieces on the floor. As furious as I felt, I didn't want to give away Stella's name, so I told the science teacher I had no idea who it could have been. But she stormed off to the principal to look into the matter. And it turned out there were security cameras in the lab. As I watched the footage in horror, I could clearly see Stella smashing my model with a baseball bat. She was immediately called in.
Stella, you will apologize to Catherine, and then you will pack your stuff from your locker. You are expelled!
What? No, please don't do that. My parents will kill me. I'm sorry.
You should have thought of that earlier. There is no room for such behavior in my school.
Just then, I stepped forward. Ma'am, please don't expel her. Stella's saying she's sorry, and I believe her. She's my friend. We just got mad at each other. Please give her another chance. The principal's face softened, and she decided that she would suspend her for 2 weeks instead. I was so relieved. As we left the office, I turned to Stella. You were mad at me, and you took your revenge. Let's call it truce now and start over. I extended my hand to her, but she just slapped it away. Do you think for 1 second that I'm actually sorry? If I could, I'd smash your project all over again. Stop acting like the freaking angel of Norway. I hate you. You know what, Stella? I think you just hate yourself. And just because your parents are jerks doesn't mean you have to be one. You can choose to be a better person. I didn't see Stella for the next 2 weeks, but she didn't come back after her suspension either. I found out that her parents had decided to send her to some boarding school in Europe, and I never saw her again. Leah truly regretted what she'd done and apologized, and we became friends again. We both graduated from the same university 4 years later. I'm now working as a social worker in an adoption agency. I want to help other kids find homes and families where they will be truly loved, just like I was by my adoptive mother, Betty.
People often say that the Irish are super fun and love to party. Obviously, none of these people ever met my mom. She was the opposite of fun. When I was 4 years old, my grandfather got me a set of Legos. I was literally freaking out about how cool they were when my mom snatched the box from my hands. We don't need this. It's going to the donation room. Oh, the donation room. My mom was obsessed with charity. We had a room in our house where she kept the things we were going to give away. And by that, I mean every single thing we owned. One Christmas Eve, my grandma gifted me an amazing sweater. The minute my mom saw it, she yanked it out of my hands. That poor girl across the street would love this. It'll make me look really good. I was so mad. I decided I was going to get my sweater back. I stole it and hid it in my room. Mom figured out where it went right away. You selfish, ungrateful thief. It's my sweater, Mom. Grandma made it for me. So, you want that poor girl to freeze? Is that it? Of course not. Good people choose others' happiness over their own, always. Mom doubled down on our charity. When I even thought of bending the rules, she'd get furious and call me cruel names. I wanted her to love me, so I decided to just get into the spirit. I learned to find joy in other people's happiness, especially when I made it happen. I started giving away my lunches, my jackets, and even my textbooks in school. My goodness meant that I was loved by everyone, so I didn't hate it so much. The trouble started when I got my first boyfriend. After weeks of flirting in class, Nick and I started dating. A month into my relationship, my friend decided to drop a little surprise on me. OMG, Mabel, I have a crush on Nick. My Nick? She grabbed me and started crying on my shoulder, snotting all over me. He's perfect for me. And you're always like so generous. Help me? I put on my good person avatar right away. Of course you can have him, girl. I'll break up with him for you. OMG, Mabel, you're like the greatest. I politely ended things with Nick and told my friend to go for it. I'd get over the breakup. I chose someone else over me, and that's what mattered, right? Wrong. And I wasn't going to realize it until after I did some truly crazy favors. One day, Maya, the most popular girl in school, randomly sat with me at lunch. It was always super weird to see her because our faces were almost exactly the same, except she was rich and had makeup and epic clothes, so it confused no one. You're the girl who does stuff for people, right? I guess. I need your help. I want you to be me and break up with my boyfriend. What? Maya explained to me how she needs to dump him but doesn't actually want to do it. With a little bit of work, you could totally pass for me. I don't know. Please, Mabel, you have to help me. She'd said the magic words. Next thing I knew, I was in a wig, 4-inch heels, a skin-tight dress, and voila, I was ready to dump her man. When I saw him at the restaurant, my jaw literally fell. Who'd be crazy enough to dump him? I sat down at the table, feeling totally nervous. You're sweating. Did you run here? No, I took a shower and forgot to dry. He laughed so suddenly he snorted his water out of his nose. He looked at me in total shock.
You're not Maya.
What?
Maya couldn't make a joke like that if someone paid her. Who are you?
Oh no, I was busted. I did the only thing I could think of. I ran as fast as Maya's heels could take me. I told her what happened at school. That guy was really smart. We should have prepared more.
Ha! You could never trick me.
I turned around and gasped. He was here. How?
I'm Evan, and I'll be joining your school.
Oh my God. I was so embarrassed I ran again. I tried to avoid Evan in school for weeks. I wanted to act like this had never happened. He kept trying to talk to me any chance he got.
Just tell me why you helped her. She didn't even pay you.
I did it to just help. He laughed at me.
No way. That can't be the reason.
It is.
You can't be real.
I'm real. Really awesome. He laughed even harder, and then he asked me out. I was so surprised I almost fell off my chair. Why?
You're beautiful, hilarious, and a good person. Seems like it'd be a great date.
He was totally right. I had so much fun dating him. Evan was gorgeous, witty, and best of all, he treated me like a princess. He literally made me accept gifts and hide them from my mom. That's how I got my first Lego set. Finally, I did my best to keep him a total secret from Mom. I even made up a dance class to cover my dates. Once again, I underestimated Mom's snooping skills. One night, Evan was dropping me home from a late-night date. To my horror, Mom was not up in bed as I'd thought. She was waiting for me on the front lawn. Oh no! I got out of the car, and that's when I saw the items near my mom's feet. My Lego set, my new camera, 3 years of gifts and clothes I'd been hiding. She'd found them all. She started screaming at me so loud that our neighbors popped out to watch the show.
You horrible, selfish girl. Do you know how many poor kids we could have fed with all this junk? You're going to give away all of this, and you're never seeing this boy again.
She threw my pictures with Evan in my face.
With all due respect, ma'am, you can't tell her what to do.
Son, you can do way better than Mabel. What?
She's a lazy, boring leech. Dump her while you still can.
Enough! You have to shut up.
Excuse me?
You're the leech. You literally suck the joy out of life. I'm done being your doormat. You can't tell me what to do ever again. Mom literally turned purple with hate.
If you live under my roof, you live by my rules.
Then I'm not living with you anymore. She didn't even try to stop me. She was sure I wouldn't make it one night without her. She was heartless. I packed up my things and went straight to Evan's house. The moment his mom saw me, she made a face.
Evan, this girl looks homeless. We can't have her in our house. Mom, she's my girlfriend.
OMG, look at her clothes, son. What if the neighbors see her with us? He begged her to let me stay with them, but his mom didn't budge.
She can sleep in the pool house for one night.
One night? What was I gonna do tomorrow? I was worried out of my mind in school the next day when Maya walked up to me. She'd become a famous model in the last 3 years. Every teenage girl knew her face now.
Mabel, I need an urgent favor. I need you to be me for the school counselor.
Suddenly, I got an idea. I told Maya I'd do all the favors she needed if I could stay with her. She agreed right away and hired me as her full-time body double. I moved into her enormous mansion, and for the first time in my life, I had so much stuff. I had my own bed, my own nightstand, a wheelie chair, and the best part, my mom couldn't steal my things anymore. I started my job as Maya's copy, and I was great. We actually prepared now, so we fooled everyone in school and beyond. One day, she asked me to appear on a show for her.
It's this charity thing for sick kids or something. I literally have zero interest in it.
Charity? Right up my alley. I went to the event ready to fool a whole TV studio. It was all going so smoothly till the organizer quietly offered me a huge check backstage. You're paying me? Wasn't this for charity?
You asked for a percentage of the donations coming here, remember?
OMG? What kind of person takes money from sick children? I donated the check back to them right away. I had no idea what a big deal this was going to be. My act of charity went viral on the internet, turning Maya into a role model overnight. Her offers doubled the next day. and she started pushing me to do more events for her. You're so good at it, Mabel. The public loves me. Actually, they loved me. While Maya enjoyed luxurious holidays around the world, I took her place to attend fundraisers, serve food at shelters, and host dog adoptions. I loved charity, so I didn't mind. But pretty soon, the work started getting out of hand. She made me do photo shoots and walk the runway for her while she danced around Italy with her Flame of the Month. She was basically making me do her job. When I asked her to start paying me, she laughed in my face. I should pay you for getting to live my epic life, for staying in my house, rent-free? Oh God, what had I gotten myself into? Maya had no boundaries. She once sent me to have dinner with a client, and only when I got there did I realize there was no client at all. She'd sent me on a date. What am I supposed to do here? Have a fun date. Give Michael a few kisses for the camera. Our fans totally ship us. Maya, do your own dating. I don't have time. I already have like 4 other dates this week. OMG, my personal life is off limits to you. Off limits? I own you, Mabel. If you don't follow orders, I'll throw you out on the street. She was driving me mad, but I needed a roof. I decided to just get the date over with. I was so uncomfortable the whole time, especially with the paparazzi literally buzzing around us. The flashes of the cameras never stopped. You're so hot and generous and perfect. Give me a kiss. He leaned forward and I jumped up, spilling water all over us. Oh no, I have to change at home. I turned to run and he held me back. He pulled me close and asked me for one kiss, just for the fans. He pressed his lips against mine and I wanted to puke. Before I could push him away, Evan showed up. Oh my God, you're cheating? Evan, no, it's not what it looks like. I saw you kissing. You're such a liar. Michael just had to act all macho in front of the cameras. He literally shoved Evan away from me. She's my date. Back off, dude. You back off. She's my girlfriend. Before I knew it, they were fighting. The cameras just went wild. They were eating up the drama. I tried to push the boys apart and accidentally sent Michael flying right into our food. You idiots! You ruined my outfit. We hurried out of there and the cameras literally chased us. Evan, you have to give me a chance to explain. I can't even look at you right now. We're done. He ran away before hundreds of people surrounded me with their cameras, clicking close-up photos of my tears. My world was in ruins. I reached home and found Maya in the best mood of her life. OMG. That drama was perfect. My fans are going nuts for me. Genius. The pure destruction of my life was genius to her? I was living with a monster. I finally told her I was done. No more dating guys for her and no more doing her job for free. I would only do charity and that's it. Maya immediately kicked me out of the house. Maybe freezing your butt off will fix your attitude. Know your place, beggar. I couldn't control my anger anymore. I'd lost my boyfriend and my dignity to Maya's selfishness. It was time for revenge, and I knew exactly how to get it. I called the local station and set up an interview about Maya's drama with Michael. Before anyone could say a word, I threw off my wig and revealed Maya's secret on live TV. I had so much proof ready for them that they had no choice but to believe me. Maya was a total fraud. My move pretty much ended her career. She lost nearly all her clients in a matter of a day. Next day at school, Maya came to me and said, I hate you so much. Have fun being homeless forever. Actually, all your clients want to hire me now, so I'm good. I apologized to Evan for hurting him and tried to explain my actions to him. When he realized what kind of pressure I was under, he forgave me right away. I'm so happy you're away from that witch. I don't care what my parents say. I'm sneaking you into my room. You can stay there. I love you, Evan. I love you more, Mabel. I lived with Evan till I received my first paycheck ever. It made me so happy and proud of myself. I could finally rent a place of my own. This was the first time I experienced complete freedom. I worked super hard to survive and made sure I got into an awesome college. I knew now